Live until 2050, and you might be able to live forever.
What if the biggest breakthrough of this century isn't just smarter AI, but the moment aging itself stops being untouchable? So in the next few minutes, we're going to unpack a brand new study that's turning heads. We'll ask if humans can really reverse time, get our heads around what AI, AGI, and ASI actually mean, see how all this could completely change our daily work, and then we'll look at the most unbelievable, best-case future you can imagine.
Okay, so our story doesn't start with some sci-fi dream. It starts for real, inside a lab. A huge new scientific breakthrough is giving us the very first clue that the aging code, well, it might actually be something we can rewrite.
The secret, it turns out, is in these tiny little things called transcription factors. Just think of them like dimmer switches for your genes. As we get older, some of these switches get turned way up, others get turned way down, and that's a huge part of what we actually call aging.
So get this. In a new study, scientists did something absolutely incredible. They figured out which genetic switches change in old human cells, and then they found a way to flip them back. And the result was, honestly, it was kind of astonishing. Old cells started acting and multiplying as if they were young again.
And we're not just talking about cells in a petri dish. The study's author said this process actually made old mice healthier. They focused on the liver and literally saw a reversal of age-related damage. So, no, humans aren't immortal yet, but something really fundamental might have just changed.
This all leads to the big one, right? The question on everyone's mind: can we actually turn back the clock in our own bodies? Let's take a look at what the science says might be possible.
First, you got to understand there are two different kinds of age. Your chronological age, how many birthdays you've had, that number's not changing. But then there's your biological age. That's all about the actual wear and tear on your cells. And what scientists are discovering is that, well, that age might just be flexible.
This idea got tested in a pretty famous experiment. Researchers literally connected the circulatory systems of a young mouse and an old mouse, and what happened was wild. The old mouse started to show signs of rejuvenation in its brain and its muscles. It's like something in the young blood was having a powerful anti-aging effect.
And the potential we're talking about here is just staggering. Another study took this concept even further. Using a type of gene therapy, they took mice that were already really old, like the equivalent of an 80-year-old human, and they extended their remaining lifespan by 109%. They basically doubled the time they had left.
So these biological breakthroughs are moving along on their own timeline. But there's a catalyst coming, one that could accelerate everything from years down to weeks or maybe even faster. And that catalyst is a totally new kind of intelligence.
All right, so let's break this down real quick. Right now, we have AI, artificial intelligence, which is awesome for specific tasks. The next possible step is AGI, or artificial general intelligence, an AI that can think and create just like a human. But then there's the ultimate idea, ASI, artificial superintelligence, an intellect so far beyond us it could solve problems we think are impossible, like aging itself. If you enjoy this kind of future documentary content, please support me with a like and a follow. It genuinely helps me stay motivated to keep creating. But before we're all living forever, this explosion in intelligence is going to change something much closer to home, our jobs and our day-to-day lives. Now, according to analysis from places like the International Monetary Fund, this won't be a simple robot takeover. For a lot of high-skilled jobs, we're talking surgeons, lawyers, you name it. AI is going to become an amazing co-pilot, just boosting what they can do. But yeah, for jobs that are really repetitive, the risk of automation is definitely a lot higher.
So think about that for a second. If machines and AI can create more and more value with less and less human labor, that raises an obvious and massive question. Who gets to benefit from all this new wealth?
And that leads us to the most incredible part of this entire story. What does that best-case future actually look like? In a world that's been totally reshaped by radical longevity and breathtaking intelligence.
Well, one of the biggest ideas being talked about is a new social contract. If AI creates this unbelievable amount of wealth, a system like Universal Basic Income, or UBI, could be a way to make sure everyone benefits. It would mean a regular, guaranteed income, creating a safety net in a world where maybe, just maybe, a traditional job isn't the only way to survive.
Let's just paint that picture for a second. We're talking about a future with healthier, much longer lives. A future where AI tools like AlphaFold can discover new drugs in a flash, and systems like AlphaGenome can design medicine that's made just for your DNA.
We could predict disasters before they happen. And maybe, the biggest thing of all, we could have more time. More time for our families, for creativity, for purpose, freed from the daily grind.
And I know this all sounds like pure science fiction, but look, we're already taking the first tiny steps. This chart shows we already have drugs like rapamycin that can significantly extend the lifespan of mice. These are the baby steps on a journey that AI could accelerate beyond our wildest dreams.
So here it is. The science is showing us what's possible. The technology is giving us the tools to do it. But the future that comes next, that's not a guarantee. It's a choice. A choice about how we use these tools, who benefits, and what kind of world we want to live in for a very, very long time. The only real question left is, what future are we going to build?